the letter that was never sent. The rain had just begun to fall when the envelope slipped quietly between the pages of an old notebook. It had no address, no stamp, no signature on the outside. Only a single folded sheet rested inside, carrying words that would never reach their intended destination. Some stories begin with grand declarations. Others begin with silence. This was one of those stories. Nobody knew the letter existed. Nobody searched for it. Yet if anyone had ever unfolded those carefully written pages, everything might have looked different. The city outside continued moving as if nothing had happened. Cars passed beneath glowing streetlights. Cafes welcomed their final customers of the evening. The wind gently carried fallen leaves across quiet sidewalks. Inside a peaceful apartment, a young actress sat near the window. Her notebook remained open. Her pen rested beside an untouched cup of tea. She looked at the blank envelope for several long moments before gently placing it inside the notebook once again. Some feelings were easier to write than to speak. The words had come naturally. Sending them had not. The letter was never meant to become a confession. It was never written to change someone's life. Instead, it became a place where emotions could exist without expectations. Every sentence reflected gratitude. Every paragraph carried respect. Every memory reminded her how quickly moments could become unforgettable. She remembered long filming days filled with laughter. She remembered conversations between scenes when everyone forgot about cameras and simply enjoyed each other's company. She remembered difficult scenes that became easier because someone nearby offered encouragement without asking for recognition. Those small moments stayed with her, not because they were dramatic, but because they were genuine. The letter described simple memories. Sharing coffee before sunrise. Watching the sky slowly brighten above the studio. Laughing after forgotten lines turned serious scenes into unexpected comedy. Standing quietly together while waiting for directors to prepare the next scene. Nothing extraordinary. Yet somehow those ordinary moments became impossible to forget. The pages never spoke about promises. They never asked for answers. They simply thanked someone for kindness that made demanding days feel lighter. Outside, the rain became heavier. Drops rolled slowly across the glass as city lights reflected like tiny stars. She closed the notebook. The letter remained inside. Days turned into weeks. Weeks became months. The notebook moved from one shelf to another as new projects filled every schedule. Interviews came and went. Awards ceremonies arrived. Fans celebrated new achievements. Life continued moving forward. Still, the letter stayed exactly where it had always been. Unread, unsent. Its existence slowly faded into silence. Sometimes she wondered what might have happened if she had mailed it. Would anything have changed? Would it have created unnecessary misunderstandings? Would the words have carried the meaning she intended? Or would they have been interpreted differently? Each possibility ended the same way. The envelope stayed closed. Years later, while organizing old notebooks, she paused. There it was again. The same envelope. The same careful handwriting. The same quiet reminder that not every feeling needs to become a public story. She smiled. Not because of regret, but because she realized something important. The letter had already served its purpose. Writing it had helped her understand herself. It had preserved memories that deserved appreciation. It had reminded her that gratitude sometimes matters more than confession. She unfolded the pages one final time. The words felt different now. Time had softened every emotion. What once felt uncertain now felt peaceful. Instead of wondering what could have happened, she appreciated what had happened. The friendships, the experiences, the lessons, those were the real treasures. She carefully folded the paper once again. This time she placed it inside a small keepsake box instead of returning it to the notebook. Some stories are not meant to become headlines. Some letters are not meant to be delivered. Some memories remain beautiful precisely because they stay private. Outside, the rain finally stopped. Morning sunlight slowly appeared above the skyline. A new day had begun. She closed the box and smiled before leaving for another day of work, carrying only the lessons the letter had given her. Sometimes the most meaningful words are not the ones the world reads. They are the ones that quietly change the person who writes them. What do you think? Are unsent letters a sign of missed opportunities? Or can they be meaningful simply because they help us understand our own hearts? Share your thoughts in the comments. Join the conversation. Share this story with someone who loves heartfelt drama, and stay tuned for more emotional stories that celebrate hope, friendship, and unforgettable moments. But stories have a strange way of refusing to end. Sometimes they wait quietly. Sometimes they return when they are least expected. Several weeks after placing the letter inside the keepsake box, she found herself walking through a familiar studio and trance once again. The building looked almost unchanged. The same polished floors reflected the bright lights above. The same hallways echoed with distant conversations. The same quiet excitement filled every corner before filming began. Only time had changed. Faces had grown more experienced. Dreams had become larger. The uncertainty of youth had slowly transformed into quiet confidence. As she stepped onto the soundstage, old memories returned with surprising clarity. She remembered laughing over forgotten lines. She remembered endless rehearsals that stretched late into the evening. She remembered everyone encouraging one another whenever exhaustion threatened to take over. Some memories never truly disappear. They simply wait for the right place to awaken again. Across the room, another familiar face entered. For just a brief moment, the noise around them seemed to disappear. Neither of them rushed forward. Neither of them appeared surprised. Instead, they exchanged the kind of warm smile shared between people who once experienced an unforgettable chapter together. It was simple, comfortable, natural. No audience noticed anything unusual. No cameras searched for hidden meaning. It was simply two people greeting each other with genuine respect. After filming wrapped that evening, several cast members gathered for dinner. Conversations drifted from new projects to old memories. Someone laughed while recalling an embarrassing rehearsal from years before. Another remembered getting caught in unexpected rain between scenes. Everyone contributed another forgotten story until the entire table was smiling. She listened quietly. Every memory sounded almost identical to the ones written inside the letter. Yet hearing them spoken aloud made her realize something she had never fully understood before. Those moments had never belonged to one person alone. They had become treasured memories for everyone who lived through them. The letter suddenly felt even more beautiful, not because it remained hidden, but because it had captured something that was real. Gratitude, friendship, growth. As the evening came to an end, they walked outside beneath a sky filled with stars. The city was unusually peaceful. Cars moved slowly through quiet streets while a cool breeze carried the scent of fresh rain from earlier that afternoon. For a few minutes they walked side by side without saying very much. Silence, she realized, had never been uncomfortable. Sometimes silence carried understanding that words could never fully explain. Eventually he smiled. It was the same calm smile she remembered from years earlier. The kind that made difficult filming days seem lighter. The kind that reminded everyone not to take themselves too seriously. He thanked her for always bringing kindness onto every set they had shared. He said working together had been one of the happiest experiences of his career. The words were simple, yet they reached her heart with unexpected warmth. She almost laughed. Those were nearly the same thoughts she had written years ago. The difference was that she had never believed they might be shared. At that moment she understood something remarkable. The letter had never been necessary. Everything it wanted to say had already been expressed through countless ordinary moments. Through patience. Through encouragement. Through respect. Through shared laughter. Real appreciation does not always require dramatic speeches. Sometimes people already know. Sometimes they feel it without needing written proof. That night she returned home and opened the keepsake box one last time. The paper looked exactly as it always had. Neatly folded. Perfectly preserved. She read every sentence slowly. There was no sadness anymore. No hesitation. No wondering about different possibilities. Only gratitude. She smiled as she folded the letter once again. This time, she slipped a second piece of paper beside it. It contained only one sentence. Thank you for reminding me that some of the most meaningful connections in life never need to be explained. She closed the box gently. Then she placed it back on the highest shelf, not to hide it, but to honor it. Years later, whenever life became overwhelming, she would occasionally glance toward that small wooden box. She no longer felt tempted to send the letter. Its journey had already been completed. It had transformed uncertainty into peace. It had turned unspoken feelings into quiet wisdom. It had taught her that not every beautiful story ends with a confession. Some end with understanding. Some end with gratitude. Some end with two people continuing their separate journeys while sincerely wishing one another happiness. And perhaps that is the rarest kind of ending of all. Because love is not always measured by what is spoken. Sometimes it is measured by the kindness we leave behind. Sometimes the greatest gift we can give another person is the silent appreciation they may never even realize they inspired. As the first light of morning filled the room once again, she smiled toward the window. The city was waking. Another chapter of life was beginning. The letter remained exactly where it belonged. Not forgotten. Not regretted. Simply cherished. Perhaps every heart carries an unwritten letter somewhere inside it. Not every one of those letters needs to be delivered. Some exist only to remind us that certain people arrive in our lives for a season, leave behind unforgettable memories, and quietly help us become a better version of ourselves. And maybe that was the greatest message hidden inside the letter all along. If this story touched your heart, let us know in the comments. Have you ever kept words inside because they felt too precious to send? Or do you believe every heartfelt message deserves to be shared? Join the conversation. Share this story with someone who believes in the beauty of unspoken emotions. And stay tuned for more heartfelt stories filled with hope, friendship, and unforgettable memories.